I went through a journey of realization that I needed to change things in my life.
Yeah.
So I decided to start playing football. I've always loved football, born in Argentina. It's in my Latino blood.
Yeah. All right. Welcome to the podcast. Today I have Chris Benson on the show. Chris, I'm super happy to have you here. I'm really excited, and I think it's going to be a treat for everyone. You are the founder and CEO of Pitch Positivity, and I think you have a lot of exciting things to talk about. So welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on your show. It's my first ever podcast, so
Let's
I'm
go.
really excited about it. Thank you so much. And yeah, just absolute appreciation to yourself for giving me this opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm not even at 500 followers and you're giving me the chance. And for me, it's what it's all about, is supporting each other with your growth, increasing your network. So thank you so much for having me on.
Yes, absolutely. All right. I want to get straight to it. Tell the listeners about Pitch Positivity, where the idea came from, kind of the trajectory, and just how you really got started with the whole thing.
Cool. Yeah. So I've actually, all of these shirts behind me, and the one that I'm wearing is all part of the Pitch Positivity journey. So I assumed you were going to ask this question, so I thought I'd get them all up and I'll just kind of share the journey. So essentially, Pitch Positivity was founded in November 2023. That's when the idea came to mind. That's when my ADHD just went absolutely crazy, and I spent 3 months with no sleep on the couch that's opposite me, on my laptop, just going through ideas, and just building a plan of what it was and what I wanted to achieve, having my end goal and having a roadmap. So what I do is kind of start of like, why did I start this? Where did it come from, right? So a few years ago, I was a much heavier man. I could probably fill this whole tub chair here. I was 105 kilos, seriously overweight, seriously unhappy with my life, very depressed, clinically depressed, some would say, and suicidal. And I went through a journey of realization that I needed to change things in my life. So I decided to start playing football. I've always loved football, born in Argentina. It's in my Latino blood. Back from playing in the favelas, we call them the villas out there in Argentina, kicking a can, couple of stones as goals. And I got back into football and I started to play with my work friends. Then I joined Monday Night Football, that's run by a gentleman called Mark. So a massive thank you to Mark, because he's a big part of this journey. He helped me massively. And I just started playing once a week. And from once a week, we fast forward to now. And as long as I'm not working, my 9 to 5 is in the film industry, working on TV, films, commercials. I'll play 6 times a week. So I've actually got a game in just under an hour. So we've got just under an hour to have a chat. And yeah, so I started playing football 6 times a week. And then out of nowhere, in a WhatsApp group, I came with the idea of Pitch Positivity because I realized that I'd built a community within these football groups. So my closest friends now are all from football. People that I've only known 2-3 years. They are the closest people to me. They're the ones that I trust. They're the ones that have supported me the most through my journey of coming out of depression, losing the weight, etc. And I was like, I've got something here. In this group, we were all supporting each other. We would literally, anytime one of us felt low, anytime we were having an issue, even at work, we'd say, hey guys, look, I've got this issue. What advice could you give me? Or we'll be like, I need to have a talk. Is anyone available? And literally one of us will go, look, I've got a 1 o'clock where I'm free. Can I call you then? We'll say yes. And we call each other up and we're like, what's going on? And we open up. So from there, I was like, I could turn this into a business. I can turn this into something like linking football with mental health and supporting each other. And like I said, that's where the ADHD took over. Went on to ChatGPT, give me 20 names of blah, 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 putting all the commands in, etc. And then I hit Pitch Positivity. And from there, the ball just started rolling. And I just came up with lots of ideas. At the very beginning, it was, I'm going to do YouTube. I'm going to do Instagram. I'm going to do TikTok. I'm going to do a podcast. Then I'm going to do football tournaments. I'm going to do apparel. I'm going to do an app. Then I'm going to do acquisition of goals or Power League and all this crazy stuff. But now I'm at the point where I am today, where I've reined it in. I've realized that my ADHD goes a little bit crazy. Pardon?
You got to niche down. That's every business owner, every entrepreneur. We have all the ideas all the time, and it's like, can we narrow it down and then kind of follow a path, and then we can expand. We always want to start like this, but we actually kind of have to start like this and then branch out a little bit.
Yeah, 100% agreed. So like I said, I had all these crazy ideas, and I was getting investors involved, and I was getting mentors involved. I was planting seeds absolutely everywhere. And I'm happy that I did it the way that I did, because I didn't want to stifle that passion, that fire that was burning in me. I didn't want to take away the ideas that I had. So I just write everything down, put them all into Google Sheets, into notes, into this, into the other. And slowly, I started to get more clarity as into what I wanted to do with pitch positivity. So I'm now at the point where I know I want to grow my Instagram to start off with. So I'm not going to hit every social media platform. I need to learn one first. So Instagram's the one that I've chosen. So that's what I'm going to learn. That's what I'm going to grow. Once I get to a certain point, which I need to figure out what that is, maybe it's 10,000, maybe it's 20, 30,000 followers, then I'll hit up YouTube, then I'll hit up TikTok, etc. But I'm at the point where I know my message. My message at Pitch Positivity is share, support, and stay active. So what I mean by that is share how you feel. Reach out to your friends. It can even be a stranger. Talk to people. Because when I was at my lowest point, I would keep everything in. Like I didn't want to be a burden on anyone. But it got to a point where I couldn't bottle it in anymore. And I started to share. And as I started to share, I came to the realization that everyone has a story. Everyone struggles. Everyone has something going on in their life. And if you speak to enough people, you can relate to someone, or someone can relate to you, and they can advise you how they overcame their struggles. So I started to implement things that people would tell me. And my rule was you go where the momentum is. So the football was my momentum. I kept going to football, kept going to football. And I've been sharing my story, and I've been sharing lots of things that happened in my life. I've always wondered, like, why me? Why is this always happening to me? I was born in Argentina. I never met my birth father. I was adopted. As a child, I was abused in different ways. It wasn't nice. Bullied at school, didn't have many friends, didn't have any confidence. And now I realize why I went through everything that I did, which is it was for the birth of pitch positivity, when I was 38 years old. And it's so I can share stories with people. I can relate to people. I can empathize with people. So I share my story, and, at some point I can show you messages that I've had from people. It's like, oh, you know what, Chris, you've actually encouraged me to start sharing. You've encouraged me to start playing in a sporting community, and it's making changes. The aim is to change millions of lives, but it's going to take time. It's going to take months, years, decades to do that. But I just keep going. And the second part of the message is about support. So it's a two-way street when it comes to the support. It's about seeking support for yourself. So one way that I got out, one big issue that I had was cocaine. Right. I had an addiction to that. And so I seek to support systems. So I opened up. Many of my friends didn't even know I had that issue. So when I opened up, they started saying, okay, right, how can we help you? So I went through a process. So I deleted every single number that I had, got them all off my phone. So anytime I was tempted, I couldn't call anyone because I deleted every number. And I knew my biggest weakness was the weekends. So when Friday came, it was like, that's what I want to do. I want to do that, and I want to go party. So I started to look for a support system. So what I started to do, I started to stay around my best friend's house every Friday. She's the mother of my godson. So I'd be there with Calvin, and Calvin brings so much happiness to me. So I'd be staying around there. And then I started to play football. So I play a game every Friday at 7 p.m. So I go and play a game, and then I get my buzz from playing the game. I go out there, I get fit, I run around, I have a chat with the guys. I go home, I'm tired, I'm happy, I watch a movie, I go to bed. So the support system is to seek a support system, seek an accountability system for yourself. But also, like I said, it's a two-way street. So what I now also do through my football groups, I'm always messaging the guys, look, how's everyone doing? Does anyone need to talk? Does anyone, need support in any way? Sometimes we see that certain players that it's maybe 1, 2, 3 weeks, they're not coming. So then what we do as a group now, as a collective, we'll actually reach out to that player, and we'll be like, hey, Dan, what's going on, bro? We haven't seen you for a few weeks. And he'll be like, oh, actually, do you know what? Whether it's talking to me or other guys, I'll be like, I'm actually a little bit down. This happened with my girlfriend, or this happened in the family. This happened at work. So we just encourage them. We're like, dude, you need to come to football. This is how you de-stress. Come talk to us. And we've seen a big difference. A few days ago, there's actually a couple of guys now that started to share that they've started therapy. And it's been a massive help from them. So, you know, you've got to seek support systems. And then the last part of the message is about staying active, you know, and that was really the catalyst for me to let go of my vices, as well as losing the weight, was playing football on a regular basis. So even if it's once a week, play that one game a week, and then, you know, get the buzz. I'm quite extreme with the six days a week. And yeah, even like on Thursdays, I play maybe 3 back-to-back games. I start at one venue, 7-a-side. I move on to the next venue, which is 6-a-side. And then as soon as that game finishes, I run to the pitch, like 2 pitches across, and then I start a 7v7, you know. But that's just me. I do things in extreme. So that's really the pitch positivity message. And yeah, behind is all different shirts, you know, that were part of this journey. Here I've got the Rich T Busquets shirt over here. And that is a 7-a-side team where we actually get together and we go abroad every year. We've done it 2 years on the bounce now. We went to Ibiza. We realized Ibiza is not the right place because it's a bit of a party island. But we all get together and we go out there and we play football. I've got Roma here, which was the first trip that I did for Pitch Positivity as a dry run for an idea that I had, which was a series about visiting cities, visiting their stadiums, visiting the local sports teams. So I don't actually have enough footage to do an episode on this, but that's where I got all my ideas. And then over here, you got Porto, Vigo, and Benfica over here. And I actually went on a cruise where I visited these three sporting stadiums. And that again was a little bit of a dry run. I had a videographer with me, and I'll actually be having some long format content coming out on YouTube regarding these. So I've actually got one of the guys from Monday Night Football who's helping me with the editing. He's got a media company. He's doing me one of them pro bono, and then he's going to do good prices for me. But yeah, and then finally, this shirt is from Soccer Dave. So I'm sure many of you are going to know Soccer Dave. So yeah, Soccer Dave is another part of the pitch positivity journey, where I actually went to TST 2024 with Soccer Dave. And I was there with Borussia Dortmund for 2 weeks with legends like Santana, Dinga, and a few others. 2 World Cup winners in the team. It was insane, you know, not even a year into pitch positivity and I'm hanging around with World Cup winners. So, you know, for people there that have an idea, just go for it. Just do it. Learn by doing. Don't worry about making mistakes. Just go with the flow and just get the ball rolling, essentially.
Yes. I love that. I love this. Well, obviously I'm a lover of the game and I'm immersed in the game, but I love that. Like, I think especially there's a culture that sometimes like, oh, either you're like professional or it's just over after you're a kid and you're not playing anymore. But it's like, we need that. We need community. We're happier and healthier connecting with people. And like, especially for people, I know some people who are just like, they'll say it. They're like, I hate working out. I hate going to the gym. Like, then don't find something else that's a way. And like playing a game, like it's a game, you know, and it's fun. It's the bottom line is it's fun. It's such a great way to do that. And I love that you're also incorporating like the mental health side of things. I mean, it's serious and it needs to be talked about. So I'm like, yes, keep going. I love it.
100%. Yeah, I mean, this is one of the things where I talk about stay active. You know, it doesn't have to be just football. It can literally be any sport. And what I'm actually going to do is when I have a little bit of time and I have a videographer with me, what I'm going to start doing is actually going out to different sporting communities. So I'll go, let's say, to lacrosse, to hockey, to paddle is like the fastest growing sport at the moment in the world, I believe. Yeah, it's, you know, it's like between squash and tennis. You know what I mean by paddle? I think it's called paddle. Yeah, pickleball. You guys call it pickleball. You know, in all other sports, you know, it could be a little bit of cricket, a bit of rugby. I mean, I prided myself in being able to pretty much play any sport at a half decent level. So I kind of want to challenge myself. So people out there say, oh, I don't do football. You don't have to do football. You know, you can do it. You go swimming, go gymnastics. Bouldering is another one, which a lot of people enjoy bouldering, just a little bit of climbing. So it's just about stay active and you know, a trend that I've seen throughout my journey of pitch positivity and, you know, exploring different sports and speaking to all the people that I have is that everyone talks about camaraderie, about, like you mentioned, a community, being part of a community. In essence, it's very similar to people that are in dark places, right? And they end up going to church. Why do a lot of people do that? Because church is a community. Church is somewhere that accepts you, right? And it's very similar with sporting communities. You come in and you're accepted and you're part of that family, you're part of that group, and you become immersed in it, you know, and it's a positive effect on people because you never go to a sporting event whether to watch, well, actually maybe sometimes when you watch it you're not happy, but you never take part in a sporting event, whether it's football, rugby, tennis, whatever it may be, and finish it and go, oh, I wish I didn't go to the gym, oh, I wish I didn't play that tennis match. Everyone comes out buzzing, you know.
Yep, that's so facts. And that's like being able to also talk yourself into things. Like I talk about that, like how can I talk myself into doing this thing? Like that sometimes seems like, oh, I don't want to do this. I'm like, well, what if I just get there? And then I just tell myself, I'm like, okay, if I'm there and then I'm really not enjoying it, then I can leave. But it's like, how often does that happen that you're actually there and you're like, okay, I want to leave. I don't want to be a part of this anymore. It's like never.
I mean, never, you know.
Yeah.
That's I mean, it goes back to that reel that I shared a few days ago about motivation and discipline, right?
Yeah.
So you can't always wait to be motivated. Like today, I woke up and I was like, oh, I really don't want to do anything today. And I had a meeting set up so we're at Pitch Positivity is actually going to start doing charity matches. So watch this space. It's going to be very cool. And then I was like, oh, I've got the podcast. I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm in the mood for talking. But then I remembered you sent that reel out the other day. It's not about being motivated and having that motivational feel. It's about being disciplined, you know. So for me, I just make sure that every day I do a minimum of 3 different things, you know, whether it be clean your room, go for a walk, do one sporting activity, make one phone call. As long as I do 3 things every day to get pitch positivity moving forward, you compound, right? It's all about compounding.
Yes. No, I'm a big believer that and sometimes we think like it is, people overthink it and it is. And I actually have one of my best friends at ADHD and I kind of know some people as well. And it's like, it's really good that you have that down because what I see a lot of is like, they're all or nothing. And it's like all or nothing can be really damaging though, you know, because because we burn out as humans, we burn out, we get tired, we don't want to do the thing. And it's like, okay, but like, what can I do today? And sometimes like for me, if I'm not feeling great and I'm kind of down, I'll just ask myself, I'm like, what? Like, I know I'm not feeling good today. I know maybe I'm depressed. I'm going through a low, whatever. I'm like, what would a successful day look like for me today based on where I'm at mentally? And I'm like, and sometimes it's like you said, it's very simple. It's like making sure I spend my time outside, making sure I get some exercise in. Maybe it's not as intense today as it is another day. And then, you know, making sure I'm connecting with someone like, you know, like we need that. And there's a bunch of studies that just recently came out on just like people who are just happier versus people who are not. The people that are happier connect with their friends regularly, like weekly, like multiple times a week. Like, we need community. Like what? We're all secluded now. We got to have community and like team environment in sports. It's beautiful for that. It's beautiful.
No, 100%. Take a rest from your doom scrolling and make a phone call instead, you know. It's something that I struggle with. I mean, everyone struggles with it, you know. Sometimes it's good, you know, I get really good ideas from scrolling and, you know, I'm like, I can remix that for pitch positivity, but it's too many little hits of dopamine. And it becomes it makes you fatigued, in all honesty. You know, I've done an A/B test where I'm like, right, I've spent 3-4 hours doom scrolling today, right? Am I going to sleep tonight? No. And then, you know, the next day I'm like, right, no social media today. Do you know what? I have the best night's sleep, you know? So you've got to be very careful with that stuff. Can't remember why I started talking about that now, but hey ho. I mean,
it all, I think it needs to be talked about and everyone knows it, but it's still hard. And it's still hard. It's simple. It's very simple. It's just like do it less, you know, but it's hard because the way that it's set up. But I always remind myself, my goal is to create more than I consume. Create more.
I like that.
I like that. Really the way that I think. But you have to think like even when you're on the pitch and you're playing and you got the ball at your feet, you're creating. You're creating the whole time. You know what I mean? And it's like, and I'm not talking about necessarily creating content, but I'm just like, I need to be creating more than I consume. But we live now in a society and with phones and everything, it's consumption. And it's like, well, we can't thrive if we're not creating. Like you watch kids while they're happy all the time, they're creating, they're playing, and they're not fearful of their mistakes and that. So no, I think it all goes hand in hand. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, it's good that you say about, that kids are not fearful of the mistakes. A lot of people, fear failure, right? That's why they don't start content creation. That's why they don't start their dream job or chase their dreams, because they're afraid of the failure. But what I've realized in this pitch positivity journey, I failed in many different areas. I've said I'm going to do this, that, and the other, and I haven't done some of the things. Some of them I've attempted and they've just fallen flat on their faces. But what have I gained from it is experience and learnings. I've learned from absolutely everything that I've done, from the failures that I've had, from the mistakes that I've made. I was chatting to a few gentlemen today that we're going to do the charity matches with. They've recently done, a couple of them themselves. I sponsored them and they've reached out to me to do some more. So we started talking and, I said, right, guys, what did you learn from this? Go, oh, well, we made these mistakes. And they were like, oh, we're not happy about this, that, and the other. And I go, guys, you've learned from it. The next one is going to be bigger and better. And you're going to know how not to make those mistakes again. And you're gaining experience, So again, it goes back to what I say is learn by doing. Just get it done. Doesn't matter what the outcome is. You're going to learn. You just have to do.
Action creates clarity. Action
100%.
creates clarity. You do it, and then because you're in the beginning, you're just like, whoa, what am I even going? And you gotta try a lot of stuff. You gotta fail because you gotta figure out what you don't like and what you do like. But so many people just sit there paralyzed and are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do all this. But sometimes even the thing that you thought you were gonna do isn't the thing that you want to do, because you start doing it, you're like, wait, actually this isn't quite what I thought it was going to be. And then you have to pivot. And it goes hand in hand with that, like, fear of failure. I actually had a guy on my podcast. I got to bring him back on. He's amazing. He's an author of this book called Uprise. His name's Kevin. And he talks about the fear of failure. He's like, it's just pride. And it's this pride that's holding you back. And pride is all about self-preservation. And it's your ego. And it's trying to protect you from what? From maybe failing and doing it again. Like, but it makes it such a bigger deal than it is. But it's really powerful the way he talks about it and breaks it down. I'm like, yeah, it's true. When that comes up, I'm like, that's just my ego afraid to get bruised. And that's self-preservation. I just let it go. Keep moving.
No, I agree with that. I agree. I think also it's a lot to do with how people are going to see you. Too many people care too much about others' opinions, whether it be their peers, their friends, their family, people within their circles. For me, you just be yourself, just do your own thing. Like, you're the only one that can change your life. As long as you put the effort in, and like I said, you seek a support system as well, an accountability system, you'll go far. You're not going to get there in the blink of an eye. There's going to be lots of hardships. It's a mountain you've got to climb. And you know what I realized when I first started pitch positivity, I saw that peak and I thought I was going to get to that peak extremely fast. And I learned the hard way that you're going to be going through a lot of challenges, a lot of hurdles, a lot of things that come in your way. But it's just about, just overcoming them, finding ways around it, finding workarounds. And just perseverance. Perseverance is the biggest thing. There's so many times in this journey that I've just felt like, just give up. Like, it's not worth it, man. It's too much work. But, for me, because I want to, the main aim of pitch positivity is to help people overcome their mental health, help people come from a dark place into a good place. I just keep going, and I keep sharing my story, and that's what I want to do. And we'll see what happens in the months to come. I'll definitely be coming to America again at some point, so we'll have to meet face to face.
Well, I want to be coming to you.
Like I said, you're welcome to come here. I'll host you here. I was actually speaking to Dave on WhatsApp today, and I said, Dave, right, I figured out a way of bringing you over. So we're gonna be getting Dave over in 2025 for sure. So potentially we can get you involved in that as well. For sure, we'll get Dave playing in some of these charity games if the dates line up. The same with yourself. You still play, right?
Yeah, well, I've been on a journey. I mean, just talking about that perseverance and stuff. I've been dealing with this knee injury that's it's been like a 2-year journey, and I've definitely fallen into that depression and stuff. Like, just being injured as an athlete is a brutal thing. And I've actually had 2 surgeries in the past 2 years, and we didn't solve the solution. But today I actually just got a meeting and we figured out what I had. It's a mitochondria. I don't even know what it's called, but it's not a common thing. And so now I literally I'm on a donor list. Literally have to wait for a donor and to get this part from a knee.
A donor for what? Is it for a ligament? Or I've never heard of a donor for a knee. What's that for?
Yeah, I know. So it's for I don't even want to embarrass myself trying to say this, like mitochondria something. Okay. It's this piece, and what they actually are going to do is like drill it into the front. It's a piece of cartilage, basically. Mm-hmm. And we're going to implant it, but it has to be like done. They have to like harvest it from the donor and then literally like get it in a cooler and then basically need me to have a surgery in like 5 days.
That's and quite epic.
It is. It's pretty insane, but I actually feel such relief. I'm like, okay, finally, I think I'm going to be able to get back to it just because I miss like, honestly, like playing on a full pitch. Like, yeah, I want to do that, whatever, but I miss like the futsal, the 7-a-side, the freestyle. Like, that's the stuff that like I want to get back into, and just playing with my kids that I coach. I love playing with, and sometimes with like my high school boys, I'm like, you guys think you're all that? I'm like, let me just show you for a second.
That's quality. So, Izzy, let me ask you a question, right? So you just spoke about, well, one, it's great that you actually know what's wrong with the knee now. Because sometimes it's really hard that you know something's wrong with you, but you don't have the answers, right? So that must bring some sort of clarity or some sort of peace to your mind, right? That now you know what the issue is, and you know the doctors know what they need to do to overcome that, right? So you know you're going to go through a surgery, you said, in the next 5 days, right? So that must be playing on your mind. So what actions are you going to take now, knowing that you're going to have knee surgery? And I'm guessing knee surgery rehabilitation is going to be maybe 3 to 9 months, something along those lines. How are you going to put your mind in the right place to overcome this journey that you're going to have to go through in the coming months?
Well, I just love that you asked that question. Thank you for asking that question. I honestly feel like this will be my 5th knee surgery. Mm-hmm. So I've done both ACLs, and then I did these 2 for this knee thing. So I feel like I mean, I was a person when it first happened, like I'm still in the gym, in my crutches. It's doing whatever I can and just reminding myself, do whatever you can to stay in it. Mm-hmm. I have a great support system. My husband's amazing. He helps me, however, to still feel like an athlete. So I think really just reminding myself, just stay in it the way that you can. And like, if you argue for your limitations, they are surely yours. And just don't argue for limitations. Don't put limitations on myself that I don't need. And just remember, like, there are things that I can do that are going to keep me in it. Mm-hmm. But I actually feel like I've also, this will be the 5th time I've done this. So which is really crappy, but also like, it's like, I got some experience and I don't feel deflated, disheartened. I feel like after this, I'm going to really be able to start running. I'm going to get back into jiu-jitsu. I'm going to get into all the things again. I'm going to, jiu-jitsu.
I love that. Funny you should say jiu-jitsu. I actually worked at Phuket top team on and off for 3 years. And I was doing jiu-jitsu there under Orlavo, like 6th degree Gracie black belt, which is crazy, but we can talk about that another time. So yeah, wow. I was there. Yeah.
Okay, wait. So do you roll it? You were in jiu-jitsu, or you were just working there?
Well, yeah. Well, let's go back onto this, because I just want to just ask a quick question in regards to what you just mentioned, right? Which is about the knee injury. You've had the experience. You know what your process is now, right? And you mentioned that you're going to have a support system, right? So a lot of people, they don't know how to create a support system. I spoke about it a little bit earlier, how I created my support system through football, right? And I've got my best friend, mother of my godson. She's there for me anytime, right? She knows what my triggers are. She knows when if I call her twice in a row, she knows she needs to pick up and talk to me, because it means I'm in a bad place, right? With yourself, how have you created your support system? Because it'll be good for people to hear how different people create support systems. Some people just don't know where to start. They don't know what to do. So what's your process of getting a support system?
I really love that question. I actually think, in all honesty, that's something that I have actually really struggled with, because I was always brought up to be strong. to be strong, to always be strong, to be the one that's strong, to be the one that's locked in. And sometimes, like, there's two reasons that when I am struggling, I won't reach out to people. First is that I just feel like I don't want to be a downer on them. I don't want to bring their vibe down. I'm like, I don't want to tell them that, like, I'm not doing well, because then I feel like, I'm just bringing their energy down. And then the second reason is, like, I'm just trying to ignore it and be like, oh, it's just not really there. I'm fine, which never works. But I actually have like 3 really great friends that I kind of just talk to, and 2 of them are not even in the same state as me, but we just call FaceTime and talk. And like you said, like, instead of doom scrolling, why don't you just call someone, And I got a friend that's like kind of in an entrepreneur space, similar space, and we will FaceTime sometimes like 3 times in a day.
Yeah, I've been there.
And you're just like, what's up? And then you're on the phone and then you're like not even talking. So I have that. I got a couple spaces or people in spaces like that are, really supportive. And I have my husband, and he's really awesome. And yeah, but honestly, I feel like it's something I could still work on, like still creating that space, and probably most people can.
I mean, yeah, I think you mentioned something about, feeling like you're a burden on people. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly, I can relate to that, because I felt like I was a burden on people. And it got to a point where, I had my support system, and the guys were like, you're not really sharing as much as you used to. Is everything all right? And like, they can tell when I'm not okay. They know me that well now. But I'll be like, guys, I just feel like I'm a burden on you. Like, I just feel like, like you said, I'm putting your energy down. And they're like, like Benson, right? So my close friends, they all call you Benson. They're like Benson, right?
Yeah.
See it this way. If I called you and I had something that I need to get off my chest, what would you say? I'll be like, go for it. Let's go. And they say, well, it's the exact same the other way around. So anytime you feel like you're a burden on someone, just imagine that they've come to you. How would you feel if they came to you? You actually feel like, do you know what? This person trusts me, So it's kind of, I flipped it now, right? So instead of feeling like a burden on someone, I now feel like I'm giving them a gift in a way.
Yes. You're giving them
if you see what I mean,
hold space for you. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
because it makes them feel good. Oh, I'm actually wanted. He trusts my he trusts my advice, or he trusts that I'm going to listen. He trusts that I'm going to keep this in confidentiality. It's kind of like something like, I used to be part of the church, right? Not so much now. I have my beliefs, but anyway, that's for another time, right? But one thing is, like, people would offer to pay for something for me, or they'll offer me a gift, or this, that, and the other. And I remember some people wouldn't accept gifts and this, that, and the other, but I'd always be like, no. Like, if someone ever offers something to you, doesn't matter how poor or rich or whatever they're coming from, you accept that, because if you reject it, you're essentially taking a blessing away from them. There's actually a Bible verse that talks about it. I can't remember what it is, but remember, don't feel like a burden. And if people want to give you something, always accept it.
I love
like 100%. So yeah, but no, that's great. What you shared, in regards to the support system, and if anyone does need support, reach out to me on Pitch Positivity 100%. Like, I'm open to talk to anyone, to listen to anyone. People have been there for me, and I want to be there for as many people as possible as well.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love everything you're doing. I can tell, like, when you asked me and you were doing, I was like, I could tell you're genuinely passionate about the space, but you're also good in this space. Like, you actually have a gift. You have a gift to, like, because
I appreciate that.
No one has ever asked me a question like that on my podcast ever. Right. So you're talented in this space, and the world needs you. The world needs positivity. And where can people find you? Where can people connect with you?
So at the moment, I'm just on Instagram. Like I mentioned before, I'm just concentrating on Instagram at the moment. So it's Pitch Positivity Official Instagram. It's a picture of me, my arms crossed, on a media wall at Benfica. So it's on there, and at the moment, the account is I'm still just doing a lot of testing, right? A hell of a lot of testing. So I'm trying different reels. I'm trying like visual reels about encouraging people, with discipline rather than motivation. Like I said, there's going to be lots of other reels like that. I'm doing lots of remixes. I touched base a little bit on, the Copa America final. I think we both used the same videos of the Latinos going through the vents and stuff, It's just Latinos being Latinos, man. It's just such a Latino thing to do. Then I'm doing my own interviews. Some of them are mental health interviews. Some of them are fun quizzes. Like, you know, who's the GOAT of all time, build your ultimate player, build your ultimate 90s five-a-side team, this, that, and the other. So I'm testing out with lots of different things. And because I've got my ADHD, and this is something to people that, again, that I'm speaking to that want to create content and you're not sure where to go, just start doing anything and everything, you know, just keep throwing things out there, keep posting. So I'm just testing, I'm seeing what works, what doesn't. And eventually in the next few months, I'm probably going to start to be a lot more focused as what I'm doing after I look at the data. Or potentially I just keep going like I am and doing little bits of this, that, and the other. You know, I want my account to be for all different types of people. Someone might just watch my videos for the quizzes. Some people might watch it for my stories of when I'm out doing pickup games. Some people might watch it for the motivational part. Some might watch it because, you know, I'm open about my mental health and I'm doing interviews of other people open up about mental health. But it's just, you know, just keep going. I actually watched a video of some guy saying, oh, if you could buy unlimited lottery tickets, would you buy them? And people are like, hell yeah. And they're like, well, why are you not posting content? Because essentially content is a free lottery ticket. You know, if one video hits, just one video hits and goes viral, you've got thousands, tens of thousands of followers. Look at the Hap 2 girl. She's made like 6 figures from just that one line. It's crazy. And she's not even a content creator. She was just doing an interview and look where she's got. So, you know, for me, if you want to create content, just start doing it, man. Just whatever idea you've got, go for it. Find your niche, find what you want to do. You know, if you're not sure, just keep going for it, you know. And to segue back to what you were talking about, the jiu-jitsu, right? So I was actually at what was it? Yeah, it was in Vigo. So when I was doing my series in Vigo, I actually came across, it was the most random thing, right? So we're walking down the street and I was literally, right, just talking to my videographer about jiu-jitsu and how I'd gone to Thailand. And I was working on and off there, and I met loads of UFC fighters, Bellator fighters, Strikeforce, you know, Lumpini champions. It was crazy. And we're walking along the street and I look across the street, right, and I see like this martial arts shop and I was like, oh my God, we got to go over there, right? So crazy. I was just talking about, look over martial arts store. Walk across the road, right? And there's a massive just poster of 2 fighters. And I couldn't believe it. One of the fighters was Matthew. I can't remember Matthew Richardson, right? And I was like, dude, you will not believe this, but I actually sparred with that guy. He was at my gym and he actually committed suicide. So it was quite an emotional kind of moment for me. I was like, what the hell? But what are the chances of me talking about Phuket Top Team, walking past the shop, and it being Matthew Richardson on there? So I'm actually going to do a whole episode on that. At some point, I'm going to fly back to Thailand. I've already spoken to the Phuket Top Team owner, Boyd. And because I sent him a picture, I was like, dude, is this Matthew Richardson? And he was like, yes, it is. I was like, oh my God. For me, that's like a sign from the universe going, you've got to do like some content on this. And I remember like meeting Matthew, and he seemed like such a happy guy, but obviously he was in a bad place in his head. You know, he was fighting some of the biggest names in Thailand, you know, living in paradise at Phuket Top Team. But yeah, it was quite a sad moment, like bringing the tone down a little bit here. But, you know, it is like about mental health, and you just never know when someone's struggling. But yeah, a lot of people out there, you know, go to Thailand to these fight gyms. They're kind of tourist gyms in a way, tourist fighting. But it's a great way, you know, if you want to separate yourself from your life completely, I would highly advise you to go to Thailand. You can pick one of the less known gyms, probably up north, if you don't want to risk getting stuck in the party lifestyle, which happens in Phuket. But it's an amazing place. And yeah, that's where I was at. That's where I did jiu-jitsu. I'm a 2-stripe white belt. So yeah, never got to the blue belt. You know, I kind of did it more for fun than anything. The first year I actually went because I was overweight, and I was like, I've got to do something extreme. Again, I was suffering with my addictions. This was years before pitch positivity, and I decided to take that extreme leap to just go to Thailand for 3 years. But I'm gonna have to bounce soon, by the way. So go to Thailand, you know, and I went there and I trained, and and it was an amazing experience. And you know, now I can handle myself. I'm quite confident. If you don't do martial arts and you get in a street fight with me, you're going straight to the floor and just a nice little lock and game over, really. But you know, yourself, where did you train?
I trained in Tennessee, out in Nashville area, and yeah, just right as I ended my soccer career, I jumped straight into jiu-jitsu and just like started training to compete in that space, and then I got competed a couple times, won, and then I competed in the Nashville Open, and won, got my blue belt. And then the knee injury kicked in, and then that's been about 2 years just trying to figure that situation out, which we're about to, and it's going to be awesome. Be back in
100%.
it.
So Izzy, I am going to have to run now because I've got my game in 11 minutes. Luckily, it's not far from my house. So
thank you so much for joining. I appreciate your time.
It's all good. So it's up to you. I can continue this conversation when I come back from football in like an hour and 20, or, you know, we can do this again another time. It's up to you. You let me know.
Time. This episode, we are to a close, and we're going to have Pitch Positivity back on. Thank you for listening. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, I would greatly appreciate if you could share this episode with 5 people you think could benefit from the show. Also, please feel free to connect with me on Instagram at IzzyChinche or my website at izzychinche.com. Thank you so much for being you. Keep being a leader and making this world a better place.